guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today I have my promised 2021 reseller goals. So if you want to hear about what my goals are as a part-time reseller for 2021, definitely keep on watching. For those of you who might be new here, thanks so much for checking this out. I am a full-time working mom, but in my spare time I really enjoy making these videos on fashion, beauty, mommy lifestyle, in addition to my reselling experience as well. So if that kind of thing sounds at all interesting to you, definitely check out my other videos linked down below, and please also consider subscribing. It'll really help me out as well. So again, for those of you who might be new here, I am a part-time reseller. I've been reselling primarily on the Poshmark platform for about 2 years now. And I recently started an eBay store a few months ago as well. So I'm trying to expand my platforms to include eBay now as well. So since I started reselling on Poshmark a couple of years ago now, I've been doing these YouTube videos as well to take you through my journey as a reseller. And I hope that along the way I'm able to give you all some tips and tricks and at least just share with you my experiences so that you can modify your business how you see fit and what works for you. And hopefully you can take some of my experiences and kind of build on them as well. So I hope you've been enjoying these videos. I definitely have been enjoying making them as well and interacting with you all in the reseller community. So today I wanted to kind of reflect on 2021 and think about what I want to do in the year ahead in terms of my reselling business. And just as a quick recap, looking back over the past couple of years, cannot believe that I got into this. How I started selling on Poshmark was really when I was still on maternity leave for my 4th child. And even though I was very busy at the time taking care of a newborn, I did have some extra time on my hands because I wasn't working because I was on leave. So because I wasn't working, I spent a lot of time watching YouTube videos and kind of started seeing how people would do this as a little side hustle and side gig. And more importantly, it just seemed really fun to be able to source a closet and to resell things. I think my secret passion that I never really got into is fashion and beauty, and really just getting into kind of the fashion world, designing and selling clothes and accessories. I just love that stuff. I love shopping, of course, like I think a lot of you do. So it's really fun to go out there shopping for other people in a sense. So I kind of really got into it by watching these videos, and then I figured I'd try it out myself. No way would have I guessed that 2 years later I'd be sitting where I am today, having a decent amount of active listings on Poshmark and continuing to make these videos. So I am just blown away by that and super thankful and happy that I've had all the support from both the buyers from my closets and also from you all watching these videos. So I can't thank you again enough. And I'm so excited to expand on all this going ahead in the next year. So I'm going to take you through 5 of my goals for this year, and hopefully this helps you out as well. Again, I'm a very part-time reseller. Like a lot of you, I have a lot on my plate and just don't have a whole lot of time to spend on Poshmark or eBay. So I hope by sharing with you my experience as a part-timer in particular, for those others of you that are part-timers out there, it might be relevant to you and might be able to help you as you expand your business as well. Okay, so the first goal that I have for 2021 is I want to improve my picture quality. So I've already started that over the past couple of weeks, and I will share some examples with you here next to me in terms of what I mean by this. So as I talked about in my previous video on tips for part-time resellers, which I'll link down below in case you're curious, I did mention that I try to be as efficient as possible because I have very limited time for listings and everything, that is, so I want to be as efficient as possible. So what I did up until recently was I used one of the rugs that we have in our living room, because above that rug we have a nice circular kind of lighting setup where I can use nice lighting. So I just lay the item down as a flat lay. I just take pictures there with that lighting that I have on my ceiling and then post them, and I try to be efficient in that way. I didn't spend a lot of time, in fact I spent 0 time editing pictures or anything else because I just wanted to be efficient. And it worked for me. However, now that I'm starting to expand my closet more, I really need to look into doing better pictures. In fact, my husband was the one that clued me into this because he actually told me, sadly enough, that it looks like your pictures are taking you on your grandmother's old rug. So I took those comments to heart. It hurt a little bit, but I totally agree that I need to change my picture layout and picture design. So what I did was I went on Amazon and purchased this PVC or plastic type of white background for photography, and I will link down the one that I purchased in the comments below. And of course, this is not an affiliate link, and I am not at all sponsored by Amazon, but this is actually the item that I purchased that has been working out for me so far. I did purchase another one prior to this, which is a little thicker or better quality. The problem was that the width wasn't all that large. So the issue was when I laid the item down and went to take a photo of it, you could see beyond the mat. So that wasn't a great look. So the one that had the widest width that kind of fit my other criteria was a particular version that I'm linking down below if you want to check it out. It comes with both a matte side and also a shiny side. I choose to take the pictures on the matte side, but it's been working out really well for me. I think the size is perfect. So what I do is I still go down to that rug, but I lay out this white mat first. And we actually changed some of the lighting in that room such that you're able to change to a bright daylight now. So that's the other thing, is to improve my lighting. So if you don't have lighting that is bright daylight like that, you can either take it in the daylight or you can also get a light box. I think those things also work. I've tried light boxes before, and for me, at least personally, the light boxes tend to create too many extra shadows, at least in my setup, so I don't necessarily like using light boxes for my Poshmark pictures, but this circular type of bright light daylight setup for me works well. So I still do flat lays, but the white background has made a huge difference, and here are some examples that I will post up here for what I mean. So my previous pictures were just taking on this rug, as you can see. Definitely not a great look. I mean, it worked for me for the past couple years, but I definitely don't think it's the greatest look, and it doesn't look the most professional by any means. And now I've switched up my pictures to something like this, where it's a lot cleaner, I would say. You can see the item a lot more sharply. It's just a very classic white background. So besides the white background, I have also started improving my pictures is by using the filters that Poshmark now has available to you. So one of the major upgrades to the Poshmark app in 2020 was that they now include these filters that are very easy to use, such that whenever you take any picture of your item, you're able to choose one of these filters. So I've played around a lot with these filters, and I definitely think it makes your item look a lot sharper and brighter. So I usually have to play around with it a little bit. I choose different settings and see how they look, because depending on what the color of your item is, the background needs to change a little bit. And my goal is really to get as white or as bright of a background as possible, as you can see in this example here. I think that personally looks the best, so I play around a little bit with the filters and the photos there so that I can get the whitest background possible. But that's another huge addition, so I really advise considering checking those filters out. I think you can really amp up your photography. So those are my tips and goals for moving forward into 2021, is to really revitalize my pictures by both the white background and also using the filter aspect on the Poshmark app. The next goal I have is something that I said I wasn't doing in that previous video on my part-time reseller tips, and that is to consider using stock photos. So by saying this, I do not mean that I'm going to be using stock photos for every single item, nor do I mean that I am going to be using stock photos for my initial cover photo. As I said in my previous video, I don't like using stock photos very much, especially for the cover photo. So if you look up any particular item, especially if there are a lot of them out there, you'll see that people often use stock photos as the cover photos. So such that when you search a particular item, you'll see the same exact stock photo over and over on all these Poshmark listings. So just human nature, I think, is that your eyes kind of glaze over those things and you're not really paying attention to every single item because you're not seeing the actual item that that person has. So what I like to do is for my initial cover photo, I use the actual picture of the item because I think that will break up the sea of stock photos that you pull up and it's something different. So you may be more inclined to click on that particular photo. So for my cover photo, I still am going to use the original item photo. But in the listing, I think for certain items, I am going to try to use some stock photos. I decided to do this because I think recently more and more people are asking for these photos. People want to see what the item looks like on a person. So they either ask for mod shots or they'll ask for a stock photo. I don't particularly like doing mod shots, especially if I have items that are not in my size. I can't do those. So I think using stock photos is really helpful for people to see how the item drapes on a body. So I am going to try to incorporate that a little bit. I've done so sparingly so far. It definitely takes more time, which is why I hadn't done it before. But I think it's worthwhile for certain items, especially the higher priced items where people really are making a considered purchase. I think that would be very helpful for. So that's my next goal in 2021, is to use stock photos, especially in the higher priced items in my listings. So my third goal for 2020 will not be a huge surprise, but I want to expand my eBay store. So again, I just started selling on eBay over the past few months. I've had okay success, definitely nowhere near as much as Poshmark, but again, it's because I don't have anywhere near as many listings on eBay as well. So I think there are pros and cons to selling on eBay, and in the future I may do a video Poshmark versus eBay in case you're curious. But I was pretty resistant for over 1.5 years into reselling to resell on another platform, just because I was happy with Poshmark. I was very comfortable with how Poshmark worked, and I'm really averse to change. That's just my personality, such that, you know, the thought of learning a whole new platform to me was pretty daunting. But when I actually forced myself to do it, it actually isn't that bad. It was pretty easy to learn, I'll say. I definitely haven't worked out all the kinks. So namely, the main drawback to eBay is you have to figure out how shipping works. So you have many options for shipping. Unlike Poshmark, on eBay, you can charge all the shipping to the buyer, but then you have to pick exactly how much you're charging, and you have to guess how much it's going to cost you. You can pick different ways of shipping, whether it just be first class mail, priority, and sometimes you have to work out differences when it comes to if you're using PayPal, international shipping, all of this stuff. So it gets a little bit complicated. I mean, it's something you obviously can figure out, but it's definitely more complicated than the Poshmark shipping from a seller's perspective. So that's something I'm still working out. I think for me, at least in the items I'm selling, I figured out that it makes most sense to charge some shipping to the buyer. Initially, I tried just to include shipping and all of my costs, but then the problem is that I have to raise my sales price. And as a buyer, I think if you see that initial sales price, that is quickly how you decide whether you want to check out the item or not. So if I'm including shipping and I have to raise the sale price to accommodate for that, it's kind of a wash, right? Because people aren't really going to buy your item anyway because the sales price seems to be higher. So I think for my items, if I can keep the sales price lower but then charge shipping, when somebody kind of gets hooked and has in their mind they want to buy the item based on that initial sales price and they realize they need to pay shipping, oftentimes they're more agreeable to that. At least that's how I work. So overall, I think charging shipping makes most sense for my store, so that's what I've been doing. In terms of figuring out how much to charge for shipping, that I'm still figuring out. It really depends, I think, on where you're shipping it to, I've noticed, in addition to the weight of the item, of course. So I try to guesstimate the approximate amount of shipping I'll have to pay, so that's what I charge, but oftentimes it's either over or under by a little bit. So because I've kind of worked out shipping, I definitely want to expand my eBay closet more, and that's namely just by more listings. At least that's how it worked on Poshmark for me, is once you have enough listings, then you start seeing more sales. So I want to improve my efficiency on cross-listing on eBay, and I also want to try to focus my sourcing on some more eBay specific brands. So what I mean by that is that certain brands seem to sell better on eBay than Poshmark, and overall I would say, despite all these different costs and things you have to tack on eBay, I think you make a little bit more of a profit on eBay. For me, it's not that much more because, again, I still ship everything by priority mail on eBay just for my convenience, but I think I still make a little bit more on eBay. So I want to try to focus some sourcing a little bit more toward brands that I think do better on eBay. So at least in my experience so far on eBay, my limited experience on eBay, brands like Eileen Fisher, Jam's World, and Orthotic Shoes tend to sell better on eBay than Poshmark. So in the past, I probably would have passed on some of those types of brands if I was outsourcing for Poshmark, because I don't think some of those brands sell very well on Poshmark, but on eBay they tend to do better. So because I have this eBay store now, I'm going to be trying to source more of those eBay type of specific brands and see how they do. So I will let you know how successful or not I am, but that's my goal going forward, is to really expand my eBay store through all those different aspects. So the next goal that I have for 2021 is to diversify my closet more. And what I mean by that is to kind of expand the items I have to offer. And I've been trying to do this this past year as well in 2020, but it's been somewhat challenging. So first of all, I mostly focus on women's clothing. I will have a smattering of men's or kids' clothes in there if I come across a really nice item, or occasionally I'll sell one of my higher end children's clothes that I have that I'm trying to get rid of. So occasionally I do include children's or men's items in my closet for those reasons, but in general I really like to focus just on women's clothing because that's what I like to source for. So that's really what I'm going to continue to focus on in 2021. However, I do want to expand the items that I have in my closet. So namely, as I've talked about before on this channel, I really want to expand my accessories in my closet. So handbags and accessories, like potentially even jewelry, but also things like belts and other leather goods. I think those things are really fun to source, and I also think it leads to more potential bundles as well if somebody can come to your closet and buy different types of items from your closet. So I really want to expand my closet to include those types of items. As I've said before, for me personally, at least in my thrift stores, I don't see a lot of great accessories or handbags that I can resell. A lot of my handbags are my own personal handbags that I resell, as is true for a lot of my accessories. So I just haven't yet found a great source for these particular items. I am going to want to play around a little bit more with online sourcing for these items, both on sites like ThredUp or The RealReal, or even on Retail Arbitrage. These are things that I'm starting to get into a little more, just so that I can expand the diversity in my closet and include these accessories more often. So if you have any great resources to source these items, please let me know. I'm really curious to see your take on them. But I'm going to try to play around a little bit with alternative ways of sourcing these types of accessories. And the other way that I want to try to diversify my closet is to expand my sizing range. So I have a lot of just run-of-the-mill sizes. I think a lot of you all do, because that's really what you find out most in thrift stores. Tends to be maybe the smaller sizes, even medium sizes. But to expand by including more extra small sizes and even more plus sizes, I think is really important to draw a wider range of clientele to your closet. So I really want to focus on expanding in that way as well. So really just expanding what I have to offer in my closet is definitely one of my goals in 2021. Okay, so I have my fifth and final goal for 2021, and this is just a small list, of course. I have many goals in general, like you all do, I'm sure as well. But these are my top goals for reselling in 2021. So my top one is to expand this YouTube channel more from a reseller's perspective. So I'm so thankful that you all have welcomed me into the reseller community as a newbie. I've learned so much from you all, so I'm really looking forward to continuing to share my entire journey with you as I go through 2021 as well. So how I want to expand this YouTube channel is by several different ways. I think in general, I'm going to try to continue to still do my haul videos and my what sold videos. I think those videos are still pretty popular with people, and at least for me personally, those kind of videos are really helpful. I love seeing what things people pick up because I get to learn about new brands and what brands are hot these days. And I also especially really like seeing what sold videos, because it's one thing to pick them up at the sourcing site, but it's another thing to actually sell them. So you really want to see what sells. So I think what sold videos are super helpful. I'm also going to continue to share with you guys all my cost of goods and sales amounts, because I think full disclosure and that kind of information is extra helpful as well when you watch these videos. So that I'm going to try to continue during this year. But how I want to expand this channel more is to do a couple of other types of reselling focused videos. So one of the ways to do this, I think, is to focus on some more brand specific highlight videos. So I tried to do a little bit of this in 2020. So I did a video focused on Everlane, and I previously did a video focused on Barefoot Dreams. So these are some brands that I really like to source as a reseller. So I did videos on them to tell you a lot more about the brand, the history, the types of items they sell, the philosophy of the brands, and also what types of reselling price points you might be able to see associated with these brands. So I think that doing some other brand specific videos focused on reseller brands that are really popular and trendy these days, I think would be helpful. So I will try to do some of those kind of videos. And ultimately, once COVID is better controlled, I would really love to do a little bit of vlogging. I'm not really great and don't have any experience at that, but I think in terms of at least vlogging reseller content first would be very helpful for people. At some point, vlogging other lifestyle stuff might be useful too. I'll have to kind of play around with. But in general, I think videos such as thrift with me's that other people do, I really love watching. So I think you might be curious in seeing what my thrift store look like and what kind of items I tend to source actively and what items I like to pass on. I think is always useful information as well. So once COVID ends or gets better controlled, I'm going to try to play around with some filming in that kind of sense too. Right now, I really don't want to do thrift with me's or any kind of vlogs, especially when I'm outsourcing, because as I said in other videos, with coronavirus here, I just am in and out. I go in the thrift store, I quickly find what I need to find and try to get out of there. I don't want to touch any extra items, including my phone when I'm in there. I try to minimize my contact when I'm there. So right now, those kind of thrift reviews just will not work, at least for me. But once the virus is better controlled, I hope to expand my YouTube channel and to include that kind of video as well. So besides those kind of videos, I also am hoping to do more tips and tricks types of videos in terms of reselling for you all as well. But if you have any particular suggestions from a reselling perspective that you want to see videos for, definitely leave them in the comments below. I'm really open to hearing other suggestions. I really want to see what you find helpful and would be useful going forward into the next year too. Okay, so that does it. Those are my top 5 goals as a part-time reseller for 2021. I hope you found this video helpful and just allowed you to think a little bit maybe more about your own personal reselling experience as well and what your goals may be for 2021. I thank you so much for supporting me in my reselling journey. It's been an amazing ride over the past 2 years, and I'm really excited about how I can move this reselling business forward as we go on to the next year and years ahead. So thank you again for all your support. It means the the world to me, and I really look forward to seeing you in my upcoming videos as well. I hope you're staying safe and healthy with your family, and I will see you again in my next video. Take care. Bye.